Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to CryptoTraders Room, one of the last frontiers in keeping it real with honesty and integrity. It's a pleasure to have you today. And if you're a new-time viewer, thank you for finding us. And if you haven't done so already, please click on that subscribe button, as well as the post notification. Stay connected with us on Steam, Twitter, as well as Facebook. Andreas, good morning, buddy. Or good afternoon for you. Hope all is well. But yeah, if I don't think we have too many people on the live stream right now, but don't be shy. Say what's up. So Andreas, I think I remember you saying you got into you bought the dip on BTC, 8,600 or something to that extent, and I don't know if you had a plan of action for that. Jonathan, good morning, buddy. Hope all is well in DC. It has been a long time, too long, but yeah, thank you for joining the live stream, bud. Olaf, as always, thank you for joining. And we got a couple other people that just joined. So if you're a new-time viewer, like I said, don't be shy. Say what's up. Become a regular. It's a great community we got going here. But what is going on with BTC and the overall market today? Of course, let me go ahead and refresh the market cap. We did, peak over 350 billion. So it looks like 344 and a half. Let's just say 345. Make the math easy. But yeah, $345 billion. And overall market cap. We do have some red today. Seems to be kind of in a, especially in the top 20. But there are some that are really holding up. So Iota up 43%, almost 44. Neo's up almost 12%. List is up almost 3%. And let's see, let's just kind of go down the list. Monaco, which I'm a big fan of, and I've been trying to accumulate Monaco. That's probably the biggest winner, especially in the top 100. And that was up about 74% earlier, 72%. So that's huge. That's huge. And and I was looking at accumulating the $5 range. So I'm kind of kicking myself for not buying more in the 5 and kind of being patient and waiting for it to get to maybe the $4 level that I was kind of expecting. But this is the cryptocurrency market. You just never know. So it's always good to kind of just get your feet wet, get a little bit of an entry, and if it pulls back, I'll purchase some. But yeah, my goal is to kind of accumulate 500. That's what I need to get the Monaco card. But yeah, I was surprised when I saw it up, almost 75% this morning. So I don't know what the news behind it is, but it's up huge. And I'm not buying it at that level. It's too high for me, way too high. Brandon, good morning, buddy. No mute allowed today, no. So I will not be going through a coughing fit. So I will not be muting the microphone. Yeah, Andreas, 8,600. Thinking to sell 12. That's not bad. And we'll take a look at the chart. I cleared everything out. So we're going to analyze it again and kind of plot out some new charts or some new support resistance. We already know the overall trend. We know the overall trend. It's just, even if we look at the 12 hours, it's been nothing but on the up really. Had an area of suppression, and it's going to do that occasionally here and there. But yeah, it's just been nothing but really to the upside ever since November 1st, which it kind of retraced right back on the 12-hour chart. It retraced right to the 200-day moving average. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and plot out some things. But I do see a lot of good things that happen in BTC. It is en route to hit all-time high. But, I don't think that's going to happen before a major correction. I can see this thing getting up to, and these are just only my speculations and my speculations only. But, 13,400, 13,500. And then having a major correction. So, we have about 2 weeks. I think today's the 4th or the 5th. I'm kind of losing track of my days here. Let me see. What is today's date? Today's the 4th. So, 10 days, almost 2 weeks. And I can see this thing getting up, close to that 13,000, 13,500 range before really having a major pullback. And then we're going to take a look at the pullbacks. What areas can we really expect? Because we are going to have areas of support. We'll probably plot out 3 to 4 areas of support. What's the reason for Neo holding levels? Dude, I don't know. Gas. People want to get some gas. But yeah, I haven't really been following the fundamental of any of these cryptocurrencies, to be honest with you. But Neo is holding up pretty well, and it made a huge comeback. And I wish I was still holding my Neo that I got rid of at $34. Olaf, how's my Doge doing? Well, it really wasn't my Doge. It was my son's Doge. And on the last live stream, I told everybody that he asked me to sell it because he was tired of me giving him the same answer day in, day out, that it was down. So I sold it for him, and he's pretty happy to be in BTC at the current moment, because I showed him the chart of BTC, and I'm like, look, this thing has just been going up and up. I'm like, you should consider, selling it. And then finally he was like, all right, let's sell it. So he's pretty excited about BTC now. But yeah, he's lost faith in Doge, and I probably shouldn't have allowed him to make that decision. I should have just got him into BTC. But yeah, he was adamant about buying Doge. And that's because he wants to get a dog. And, that's not going to happen. So he figured if he can't have a real dog, he'll get the Doge token, and that would kind of make up for it. Oscar, welcome, buddy. Do I think AK will be the support during the next correction? We're going to take a look at that, bud. LTC forecast. We'll also take a look at LTC for you. Welcome, by the way, Rick. Better than you for Neo. They were talking about it on CNBC. I don't even have CNBC anymore. I don't watch cable. But yeah, that's interesting. That is interesting. So a lot of that could be, I guess the move up could be due to CNBC covering it. And that's really rare for CNBC to be covering Neo. But, it is a next Ethereum. So, anything that's in competition to Ethereum, and competition is good, they're probably going to cover, just like, if there was another competition to BTC, I'm surprised they haven't really started covering, Bitcoin Cash, because that's really the only other competition that it has. BTC major correction, what would it be? 13K to 8K to 7K. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look. Yeah, and you're right. We haven't really had a major correction. Major correction. I mean, we had, it dropped $2,900. And in my honest opinion, within a matter of 6 hours, that's pretty major. But, we hadn't really had a major correction in the sense that it was downtrending for, 3 to 4 days continuously. We have not seen that yet, like we did in the past, and I'm sure we are going to see that. Dogs are great. Yeah, dude, I used to have 2 dogs, man. And I used to have a black lab, pit bull, border collie mix, and very protective. He was awesome. But yeah, that was years ago. Daniel, you always got a great investment for me, and I'm sure I'll be happy to hear about it. But let's go ahead and take a look at BTC. So we're looking at the 12-hour chart. And then, we'll definitely get a little granular on this. But yeah, I went ahead and cleared everything out just to kind of get rid of it. So let's go ahead and see, maybe the 6 hours. Because that suppression zone is still going to be there. So let me go ahead and plot out where that suppression zone was. And we'll probably have to get a little granular on this to look at the extent of that suppression zone. So 1 hour chart. So the suppression zone is still going to be there. It's still going to be in play. 83, 88, let's just say 8,400. And these were things that I plotted out in the past. I just went ahead and cleared everything out just to have a clean chart to about $7,900. And I did say, on the while back, well, not a while back, I think it was maybe on Monday or Tuesday's live stream, when we had this really nice run up and it was starting to downtrend, $8,400, 83.75 was where I kind of saw it coming down to. And it came down to 85.95 on GDAX. So it's going to be a little different depending on what exchange you are looking at. But, this is still up too high. And in my honest opinion, that dip is going to happen. It's just a matter of when is it going to happen? Not if it's going to happen. It is going to happen. It's just a matter of trying to figure out when it is going to happen. And honestly, that nice dip that we had of $2,900, that they were testing out the market. That's my speculation. That's my opinion. They were testing out the market to see what type of support is there if there is a major downtrend that is going to happen. And there was a major support to bring this back up from $8,600 all the way to 10,800, 10,900, something to that extent. That's a huge bounce. So they tested that market already. They tested that drop to see if, the newbies, the inexperienced traders, retail traders, as I should say, to see if the retail traders are going to support it if there is a downtrend, because they're not just going to dump everything at once and really bring this market down. They're going to start selling a little bit at a time and bring it down, and then see exactly what type of support is there to bring it back up so that they could unload more at a higher price, because they don't want to sell at a lower price. You know, if they dump everything, then it's just going to keep tanking and tanking and tanking. So they're testing out the market to see exactly, you know what, how are retail investors going to react to this, or how are retail traders going to react to this downtrend that we are going to possibly cause, you know, in due time. So yeah, they brought it up pretty nicely. And then basically from, you know, 10,900, brought it right down to 9,141. It found that support right at the 200-day moving average on the 1 hour candlestick price action movement. So I think, you know, whales are probably done selling for right now. And that's why we're having this nice little uplift, really making new highs, 11,891 bucks. But they're going to really test this thing. So they've already tested it once, somewhat twice. Now we're probably going to see, third time is usually a charm, where we could have a major dip, but not until this thing really runs up. And I can see it running up to that 13,400, possibly 13,500, somewhere in the $13,000 range. So those aren't, you know, exact to a T that, you know, it will go up to, but, you know, I can see this thing really having a nice run up. So let's see, you know, resistance. In my honest opinion, this is still at resistance. You know, even though we had a nice little peak to 11,891, you know, we can still see this thing, you know, hitting that resistance. And that's currently where it is right now. There's a lot of fighting, you know, on the 1 hour candlestick chart, you know, that is happening between the bears and the bulls, you know, to bring it up above 11,500. And currently right now it's hovering underneath it. So that is still, you know, a resistance for it. But let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute chart. And then I'm probably not going to look at the 15 or 5 minutes. You know, if I was in a trade and looking to get out, that's when I would look at those. But yeah, let's see where the other major support between the fight that happened. Let's go back to the 1 hour. I mean, really, after we had that nice run up to 11,480 something bucks, it had a nice lift where there should be some sort of a support. So like I said before, you know, we are going to have first area support, second area support, third area support, and so on and so on and so on. You know, last area of support that I can see this thing is just really the suppression zone. I'm not going to really plot anything out past that unless we really do have a downtrend and it starts to consolidate at a specific level. Then we can start looking at other areas of support below the suppression zone. And I'm not really seeing much other fight between the bears and the bulls except for one other area. And that would be right about here. So really right now, you know, like I said, it is hovering right below where there is a resistance for it. And it's got to break out above that resistance of 11,500 and maintain that, either consolidate sideways or really have a nice lift, pushing it up past 11,891. But we also got to remember that we do have a double top. We have a double top forming. So, you know, are we going to see more of a downtrend coming this weekend? You know, if this thing doesn't really break out above the 11,500 and break out above the 11,891 and form a new high and consolidates in this range, you know, within a couple of days, you know, we could see it start to pull back and really find another area of support. Let me see if there is another area of support possibly. All right, there is one other one. All right, so currently still at support, or I'm sorry, resistance. First area of support, 11,764. Second area of support, 10,000, which is still a psychological level. If it breaks 10,000 and maintains that break, that's when we know, okay, you know what? You know, short term, there could be issues going forward. If it doesn't maintain above 10,000 and stay above 10,000, that's really when traders are going to start panicking a little bit that it's not getting up above that psychological level. And 10,000 is huge for it. It is huge. You know, a while back, people were predicting 10,000, 10,000, 10,000, you know, back in February or March. So, I mean, it is a psychological level. And if it does break below it, it's got to get back up and maintain it in order for it to be somewhat short-term healthy price action move. But if it stays below it, then, it's going to end up testing out those other areas of support. And if it breaks below 10,000, that 95.64 is really a kind of a soft support. I don't see that being as a very hard support. Because people are going to panic and they are going to sell. They are going to lock in the profit as they see their profit kind of dwindling if they haven't already sold. And then really the major area of support that it's going to have. So there is one other area of support right around the 9,000, about 9,100, 9,150. And then last but not least, it's really that suppression zone where it could get to that 84.75, 8,500. Let me go ahead and plot out that 8,500 because that was the big dip that it had. But it had a lot of support from, I'm going to say, mainly retail traders. Those were the ones that were really supporting this thing. So if this thing really breaks, like I said, breaks that 10,750, 10,000 psychological level, must maintain. If it doesn't maintain it, soft support at 95.50, and then another soft support at 9,200 bucks. If those don't maintain, it will get down to the suppression zone. And that's really where I see the major support happening. If there was a major sell-off that was to ensue and some catastrophic events that were to happen within the news, that's kind of what I see happening within BTC at the current moment. But yeah, so we'll keep an eye on this while the live stream is going. If it starts to break out above that 11.5 and maintain that break, then it's a healthy move. If it doesn't, maybe we should be a little worried and be a little cautious, as I should say, not worried but cautious, because we know that if BTC doesn't, if BTC does have a nice drop, it's going to make it back up. It's just a matter of time. But taking profits, at 1180 is not a bad idea. There's nothing wrong with locking in some profit at all, because then you have the capital, you have the profit, and on a dip you can buy back in more. There's no sense of holding it and watching this thing drop to 10,000 when you could have locked in a little more of a profit and then buy back in at 10,000. But yeah, let me answer some of the questions for you guys and get a sip of coffee. Look into Yes Coin. Is that even a real coin? Oh, it is a real coin. It's up huge. It's up huge. But yeah, if you're not already in this, why even get in it? Yobit and Nova Exchange. So you know what? One thing I'm going to mention is the other day I talked about kind of a money grab. So a while back the ICOs were a money grab, and they still are a money grab. And then BTC forks are starting to become a money grab. We're going to probably see 5 forks happening within the next month. And there is another money grab that I've kind of looked at and I said, you know what? This is a huge money grab that's happening right now within the cryptocurrency market, and it's all these crazy airdrops that are happening. They're not, a lot of them are not even really selling tokens. They're not having an ICO. They're just airdropping, coins left and right, and not dropping a lot, but dropping enough to the community. Whereas the community is going to, it's going to end up trading on Ether Delta. It's going to end up trading on some of these, crappy exchanges, and it's going to cause the price to go up. And if it has the back end of the community, if enough people have the coins and they're trading it, it's going to go up. And what are the devs going to do? The development team is going to start unloading what they have. So these airdrops, in my opinion, are the next money grab, or are becoming, the next money grab. And Yes Coin, I can probably put that in that same category. Should you invest? No, definitely not. Not when it's up. What was it up? Like 2,000%? Yeah, 2,250%. That's huge. I wouldn't do it. I really wouldn't do it at all. Yeah, Daniel, I agree with that. If you have cryptocurrency, and you have more than, whatever a Ledger Nano S or a Trezor would cost. Get a hardware wallet, Yeah, I highly recommend it. Anybody new that's getting in, use that hardware wallet, use those addresses specifically. I don't even use my Ether wallet anymore, because I have a hardware wallet. So you're more likely to, click on a phishing site or accidentally, type in, my Ether wallet, but, you end up messing up, takes you to a scam site. And then, a lot of people are having their coins taken away. A lot of people are. No, Jonathan, I have not seen Tone Vays on his charting tool. I haven't really been able to watch any of the YouTube videos that are out there. I try to watch mine just a little bit, just to make sure the audio quality is good. But that's about it. I don't even really go back and watch the whole thing. My live streams are kind of long. So, for me to spend, hour and a half, going through the whole live stream is just, it's too much. It's too much. If I didn't have kids and a family, yeah, I would, be on YouTube day in, day out. But yeah, it's tough. PK, welcome, buddy. But yeah, let me know, Jonathan, what charting tool does he use? Yeah, I agree, Daniel. I mean, even though, paper wallets are great, but yeah, paper wallets it's long-term hold. I, like buying BTC back in January or December. You're going to buy it, put it on a paper wallet, and stash that paper wallet away in a safe. But yeah, if you're looking at, lock in some profit and sell, yeah, you got to get a hardware wallet. It's so convenient to be able to transfer those coins to an exchange. But yeah, I completely agree with that, Daniel. Let's see. I never heard of that one. And that's good that you mentioned that. And hopefully you can elaborate on that a little bit. But something to watch out for, as Daniel's saying, is someone could use an airdrop to try to expose someone's private keys. But yeah, elaborate on that and see, let me know how they were possibly doing that. Because I see tons of airdrops that are happening left and right. And I'm like, this is crazy. They're just giving away free tokens. And then I kind of thought about it. I'm like, they're just trying to get the price to go up. The more people that have it, the more people are going to be trading it on an exchange, and it's going to have volatility. It's going to have price action movement. And, I mean, they're creating something out of nothing. And I mean, it goes up to half a cent, whatever it might be, a quarter of a cent, and they got, 500 million, a billion of those tokens. Then, yeah, it's a lot of money that the people that created that token and airdrop those tokens are making. But yeah, I haven't heard of a way that you're able to expose your private keys through the use of airdrop. Olaf, I agree. Yeah, I don't need to sign up for any airdrops whatsoever. I don't need these crap coins. Um, if I have Ether and somebody's doing an airdrop, then yeah, that's great. But yeah, I shouldn't have to give out any information at all to do an airdrop. So yeah, just be very careful. Don't give out your name. Don't give out your address. Don't give out anything. If they're going to do an airdrop and it's a legit airdrop, then they'll just airdrop it like OMG. I mean, you're holding Ether, they automatically airdrop tokens. You didn't have to do anything at all. But there was a lot of phishing, scams that were going on with that airdrop. Where I mean, I was getting private messages because I was on the OMG Slack. I was getting private messages left and right, and about the airdrop. And I'm looking at the address at the link that they're sending me, and I'm like, man, this is very clever. I'm like, it's not a W, it's two V's to make it look like a W. And I'm like, a lot of people probably fell for it. It's free money. They get excited. They don't stop and think. They click on that link, they enter their information, and then boom, within a couple seconds, their account is cleared out. Skytech, Cardano. It's up too much. I think the other day I was trying to find a charting tool for it. Let's see, what are they on? Binance, Bittrex. At least if they're on Binance, that's pretty good. My Ripple, never heard of my Ripple. But yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Yeah, because I mean, that is up a lot. All right, let me enlarge this chart. I mean, this thing was up to, what is that? 1,280 Satoshis or 285. Is that 280? 285. 285. Let's take a look at 30-minute chart. See what this thing has been. I don't know. It's too much of a move. Even though it's not that expensive, it's up way too high. Man, I need like a 45-minute chart on this. ADA BTC. Yeah, huge pump. That's a huge pump, and hopefully nobody chased it. But yeah, let's go ahead and analyze this thing because I haven't really looked at it. I mean, I saw the price move, and I saw it really move up in the CoinMarketCap ranking, but I have not analyzed this thing at all. If you are interested in this, I'm not sure of the fundamentals behind it. But yeah, let's go ahead and plot out a couple points and kind of go from there. All right, so let's see. Eventually it's going to retest the 650 range. Eventually, not at this current moment now. But I mean, it's got some barriers that it should break. But yeah, what was the reason for that coming down? And that was just recently on the 29th. See, Daniel, you're saying you can create a BTC airdrop that only allows my wallet, and then you can watch keys if they have not split. I don't know what that means. Yeah, if you want to elaborate on that a little bit, just to be able to inform everybody, possibly how these airdrop scams could work, because I really had no clue that you'd be able to expose your private keys. Let's see, Jeff. I don't know. That's something I'll have to research a little bit. Just getting a text message from my buddy asking, "What's this about Satoshi's Bitcoin Cash moving to Bitfinex?" I have not heard about Satoshi's Bcash moving to Bitfinex. And if you guys know the address, of Satoshi's, Bitcoins or Bitcoin Cash, yeah, share that with us. Because I'd be happy to follow that and see exactly if Satoshi is moving, Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Gold and Bitcoin Dark. Because I mean, that would tell us that he's alive for sure. But yeah, that's interesting. So if he is moving, Bitcoin Cash to Bittrex, there might be a dump. There could be possibly a huge dump. All right, let's see this thing. What else are we looking at here on this? Let me get to the 30-minute chart. Since we already looked at kind of the overall chart to kind of see where that bottom might have been in the past and where possibly it had found support. But yeah, I don't know what the reason is to move behind Cardano. I really don't. Because I mean, it had a huge move, 300%, something to that extent. I mean, that's huge. I like this level here, which it hasn't really come down to it yet. And that's only if you're interested in Cardano, which I'm not. I'm only looking at this because SkyTech asked me to take a look at it, or that's my take on it, really. So in the sense of fundamentals, I have no clue. If you've done your research, SkyTech, let us know. But I do like the suppression zone here. And really, that's where a majority of the fighting has happened. Between the bears and the bulls, for price action movement. And of course, we know who won because it's really consolidating at a very nice, healthy level at the current time. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to take a dip. So let's go ahead and plot out the area of resistance for it. And I'm not even going to worry about this crazy, crazy peak that it had, because to be honest with you, looking at this here, and I tend not to look at the wicks at all. I look at the closing price. And I mean, this was just on a 30-minute chart. This is an ugly candlestick. I mean, they pumped this thing hardcore, and it failed to maintain that type of move. Completely failed. That's a little scary, because there are people that chase this thing, saw this huge candle forming. But what do we know? I mean, next candle didn't do anything at all. So, I try not to look at that candle in the sense of saying, okay, you know what, that's where the resistance is. I look at the closing price of the candle. All right, so currently sitting, where is it sitting at? 1,177 Satoshis, and this is based on Bittrex price action movement from their exchange, but looking at TradingView on the 30-minute price action movement. Very nice consolidation, that's happened ever since, the 30th, I'm going to say. November 30th, all the way up to today. It's a nice consolidation. It's not completely just breaking down and having a nice little dead cat bounce and breaking down. I mean, it's a healthy consolidation move. But the battle hasn't been won yet. It hasn't shown us that it has the ability to go up, consolidate, a little bit of profit taken, have another leg up to the upside, consolidate, maybe break down a little bit for profit taken, and then have another leg up. When I look at this type of chart, I mean, this could go either way. I mean, she could pump, depending if the right person comes in and puts in a market buy order or puts up a huge wall, because I'm not really looking at the order book. Or this thing could dump, somebody that bought it very cheap, has been, a long-term holder, or one of the devs that's already made thousands upon thousands, maybe millions of dollars, and they're happy with it, and they need to lock in those profits. They could come in and start dumping it. And that's kind of what I see happening, to be honest with you, unless there was really positive news to back this type of move, going from, 400 Satoshis, let's just give it the benefit of the doubt and say 500 Satoshis, from going up from 500 Satoshis where it had a nice consolidation, and then completely broke out. So actually, Andreas, I don't know if you're on here. I think you are. Just to kind of clarify, the question that I answered for you the other day, I mean, this is kind of a good example, just a one part good example of it, but we're not really seeing, actually, yeah, there is another good part of it. So we had a nice little push up here all the way up to 596 Satoshis, and then kind of broke down just a little bit, consolidated. And if you were thinking about, where should I enter? It's really when it starts to break out above 596 Satoshis. Once you get that confirmation that it's breaking out above it, that's the time to take a position. And then as it start heading up, start trimming your position, because as we know, it pulled back down just a little bit. And then if you want to get another entry, you're looking for a break above that previous high of 962 Satoshis, and had another pullback. Another push up to the upside, pulled back, push up. And then ever since then, it's kind of broke down and consolidating in somewhat a healthy level. But, it's 50-50 whether this thing is going to break out above the resistance. And really, there is going to be a strong resistance at that 1,250-ish, something to that extent. It's not going to be to a T, but there is going to be a resistance at that level, considering it's maintained below that level for an extended period of time for about 5 days. So if it breaks out above it, it's a clear confirmation of a breakout. And then, resistance at 1,451. So if I was looking to play this, I wouldn't buy it here, because you really don't know which route it's going to take. I would wait for a break above the resistance, and then sell at the next resistance, or trim your position at the next area of resistance. So, first area of support for this thing, if it does decide to break down, is going to be in the orange line at 1,050 Satoshi, give or take. Second area of support is going to be, where it really held up after having a nice pump up to the upside. Instead of just completely breaking down to where she came from, she only broke down to right to this area here, where it had a nice push up, and then kind of, profit taking happened, consolidated. And that's where buyers were sitting there waiting to buy this thing at the level that it broke down from its previous peak. And I'm talking about this previous peak, not the biggest peak that it had. So that's going to be probably a more solid area of support for this thing, right in the range of 860 Satoshis. But yeah, I'll follow this thing going forward and see, maybe on the next live stream, we'll kind of revisit this thing and see exactly what it's doing. But it's up high. I was never a fan of Cardano because of just the amount of supply that's out there. But I don't know what the news behind it is. I think something to the extent of them burning tokens, but until they actually start burning tokens, I probably won't be a fan, in the sense of technical analysis, not fundamental analysis. But SkyTech, hopefully that was helpful, bud. More history on Bittrex for ADA. I'll take a look at that, Rub-a-Dub. Yeah, probably on the next live stream, we'll take a look at that. Mohammed, welcome, buddy. Do I think BTC will pull back or carry on going up? It'll carry on going up. Let's go back to BTC. It will make a new high. It definitely will. Especially until CME starts featuring BTC. And then depending on the possible, it's not set in stone, possible forks that are going to happen. We're going to see about 5 forks up until January 2nd. So as long as the possibility of those forks are still there, then, this thing is going to head up higher. But, we can definitely see a lot of profit taken after possibly the CMA. So it's buy the rumor, sell the news type of mentality this market has, where really anything that you're trading, and people are definitely buying the rumor, and they're definitely going to be selling the news. But yeah, this thing will head higher. It's not that far away from its all-time high of 11,891 bucks. 13,000, I can see it hitting that level. That's only really from its high, less than $1,200 away. $1,200 is a drop in a bucket. It's a lot of money, but it's a drop in a bucket for BTC's price action movement. Olaf, I like that. If new coins come out and have BTC in the name, it's 100% shitcoin. Yeah, I agree with that. And BTC name is becoming a money grab. You're absolutely right. Bitcoin Dark, Bitcoin Plus, Bitcoin Elites. I don't know. There's just, so many things that have Bitcoin in the name now. But, they do well in the sense of, having a kind of a short-term price action movement. Look at Bitcoin Diamond. It was what, I think over $100. It might have been $200, and now pulled back to 47. So I mean, it's just a way for people that are already holding, the development team to kind of unload and lock in some actual BTC. Theo HX, I'm not sure what you mean. It's smart. Was there a comment in the past? I don't think there was a comment that you had. It's smart contract related XRP. XRP is doing smart contracts. Is that what you're trying to say? PK, it's supposed to be the next Ethereum. In what sense? Let's see. Yeah, let me know what's supposed to be the next Ethereum. Neo, yes. I don't know if you're talking about Cardano, because that's what I was covering recently. SE, welcome, buddy. Welcome. SkyTech, not a problem, man. If you guys ask me to take a look at a coin, I'll definitely take a look at it, unless it's just kind of a busy day with other things that are going on within the market. But the market seems to be somewhat slow today, except with a couple winners. And Iota is definitely a big winner, especially 47%. The biggest winner in the top 10. And it's definitely moved up in the sense of market cap. Neo 12% still. But yeah, I mean those are big winners. I mean everything else really in the top 20 is in the red. So I mean they're definitely holding the market up. $343 billion just about. Crypto Cutter, welcome, buddy. Jack, you hungry? Yeah, you never told me if you sold that, if you paid for that pizza in cryptocurrency. Because I know last time we were chatting, you ordered pizza, and I was like, did you pay for that in BTC or Litecoin? Matthew, happy Monday, buddy. Your Iota's doing very well. Very well. Let's go ahead and take a look at Iota since Matthew's on here. Iota, where are you? Where are you? Yeah, 276. And the coin market cap has it at 281. Duty calls, Jack. Yeah, dude, you're a working man. But yeah, let's see. I think last time we really covered this thing. Let me go ahead and get out of the 30-minute chart. I think I said 110 was really a good support line for it, from what I remember, Matthew. What did she get down to? 105, 108, 108. So she held that, 105 and 108 level. She held it very well. So let's go ahead and clear this out. Start out with a new chart. Yeah, this thing has pushed up nicely. It's pushed up very nicely. Do I ever trade against BTC pair? I'm gonna have to start trading against BTC pair, considering I'm gonna really start utilizing Binance and other exchanges that don't really deal with USD. Considering I don't really trade on GDAX anymore. I mean, I'll have to purchase on GDAX and then transfer, unfortunately, with USD. And then, of course, I'm out of Bitfinex completely. All US residents are. And, Bitfinex has just been shady recently. So I'm kind of glad we're barred. I'm kind of glad we are, to be honest with you. Because more than likely, I would have probably, I wouldn't have been caught in that flash crash. I wouldn't have, because I wouldn't have been a margin and I wouldn't have used stop loss. But yeah, I'm glad they barred us. It was only a matter of time, before I said F you to Bitfinex. All right, let's take a look at a couple of things on here for Matthew. And I'll try to get to some of the comments as best as I can. Going nuts at the moment. Will it stop? Yeah, I mean, honestly, Matthew, it's not going to keep going up and up and up. It's not. I mean, we are at an all-time high. We really are. So, you know, I know you have a long-term outlook in this, but it doesn't hurt to lock in a little bit of the profit. This is just way too big of a move. Way too big. I mean, we're looking at the one day price action movement. Way too big of a move. And it's not going to sustain these type of moves without giving a nice, healthy correction. They do correct. Honestly, they do. So I'm not saying to sell everything. And I mean, that's a decision that you have to make, Matthew. But if I was in this position, I would start trimming slowly but surely, trimming maybe, you know, 1/10 of my position. And I still have, you know, I still have more to kind of trim away. But then on a nice, healthy pullback, and it will have a nice, healthy pullback. And then it's the time to unload and go in. Because then you have, like I said before, you know, you have the principal, you have the capital, especially, you know, the profit, you have the profit, which is going to be a good amount. Plus you have your capital, and you could even buy back more. I know you firmly believe in Iota, and I'm starting to become a believer in Iota. But yeah, I mean, when it's up so high, so fast, you got to lock in those profits, because it will have a pullback to a nice, healthy level. But yeah, remember, it's not a recommendation to sell. It's not a recommendation to sell. It's only what I would do personally if I was in this trade, which I'm not. And I'm kind of kicking myself that I should have probably bought it when you and I were having that conversation. I should have probably bought it. All right, so let's go ahead and look a little better at this. We plotted out some areas of support for it. And of course, the suppression zone. I always try to look at the suppression zone, you know, where was an area where it was just really suppressed and held down for an extended period of time. Because eventually, I mean, you know, it's not going to happen within the next couple of days. It's not going to happen anytime soon. But eventually, you know, the market does have a downtrend. You know, the market has a very, very healthy correction. And, you know, that suppression zone ends up becoming a really major support level for it. So let's actually get a little tighter on the suppression zone. Yeah, I think I like this. I think I like this suppression zone a lot better. So right in this range here, which would be the $1.50 to probably $1.10, $1.30 something. So actually, Andreas, here's a perfect example of what we kind of talked about. And I think Iota is definitely presenting that opportunity. Whereas if you're really watching this like a hawk and you're looking to get an entry in and it has a nice parabolic move up to the upside, and you know you don't want to chase it, you want to wait for a correction. This is the type of correction that you're waiting for. And then, you know, if you're looking at this very granular, because if you're really looking to take an entry, you want to look at a very smaller time frame. But yeah, you know, when it really has a nice little healthy, you know, correction, profit taken, and it somewhat starts to consolidate, which if we look at the probably 15 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, you know, we do see, you know, a consolidation area, even though, you know, it's not a straight line consolidation, but it did have a nice little pullback. And then really you're waiting for it to break out above that high. And that high was 197.99. We'll just say 198. You know, you're waiting for a breakout above the 198. And once it breaks out above 198, that's kind of when you know to take profit. And then on a nice little parabolic move again, you know, you want to wait for it to kind of have a nice little pullback. Once it starts to pull back, then you know it's going to have, you know, a nice healthy pullback. That's when you start trimming your position, you know, before it really gets down to this level here. Especially, you know, once momentum slows down, because momentum does slow down when it has a nice push up to the upside. So once you kind of see that the volume is drying up a little bit, momentum is dying down, that it had to the upside, start trimming a little bit of your position. And then once it starts to break out again above a key level of resistance, then that's kind of when to get back in. And this is kind of a, a healthy, or actually a perfect example of that. Whereas that 249, 250-ish, was an area that it had a hard time pushing up against. And on the 15-minute chart, it was really twice on this candlestick here, as well as on this candlestick. It didn't break out above it. It pulled back to a nice level where it previously pulled back down to. And that's where I kind of have this area of support for it. It pulled back to that area. And you really don't know if it's going to keep pulling back down, or is it going to start really heading up? And once it starts to consolidate and move sideways and it doesn't break below a key level of support, then okay, you know what, let me keep an eye on this a little better because there is a possibility that it's going to have a push up to the upside. Now, you can add to it, at the 216, 220 range, but you don't want to add a lot. You want to add to it to get more of a profit. You want to add, or a confirmed profit, you want to add to it when it actually breaks above that resistance. And that resistance was at 250, and it broke out above the 250. Now going forward, if you're watching this thing, you're watching to see if it's still going to have an upward move to the upside, or is it going to start breaking down and consolidating? But so, going forward, it is going to have areas of support. 250 is an area of support. 216, 215 is going to be an area of support. Next area of support is going to be that just a little under $2. We'll just say $2 to make the math easy. $2 is going to be an area of support. And then really bare bottom, if the market does have a crazy downtrend, is going to be that area of support, probably more on the upper end of that area, that suppression zone, which is going to be right around the 250, maybe a little over 250. But yeah, this is a great move for it. It is really a great move. And if I was in this position and I bought at $1, I would start trimming my position. I would start locking in the profits. But yeah, let's see what you guys are saying. All-time high scary. It looks like correction is looming. Yeah, anytime it has an all-time high, you should be not scared, but you should be a little fearful. Be greedy when others are fearful, and be greedy when others are fearful. Or be fearful when others are greedy. Good night, sweet Prince. Welcome, man. It's great to see new names on here. And we got 28 people on this live stream. So if you do find some of this information helpful, pound that like button. And if you're a new time viewer, welcome. It's great to have you. It's a pleasure. Thank you for finding us. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification. But I do these live streams, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, usually like 10 a.m. Eastern time zone, 10:15-ish, something to that extent. But there are a couple of days where I end up missing because something happens. I do have 3 kids, and sometimes they require, I shouldn't say sometimes, a lot of times they require a lot of, oh man, a lot of, they have a lot of needs, So if you guys have kids, you know exactly what that's like. But yeah, they're needy sometimes. Back the truck up, 5,000 range on BTC. Man, 5,000 on BTC. Let's see what that level looks like. But yeah, if we have a catastrophic event that's going to happen within BTC, then yeah, absolutely. Let's just say hypothetically, somebody, let's look at the overall chart on this. Let's just say hypothetically, somebody gains 51% of the hashing power and they want to manipulate BTC, then they can easily drop BTC price down. But yeah, that's the only way to really, hack BTC is to control 51% of the hashing power. But yeah, exchanges being hacked is going to cause somewhat a short-term downtrend. But I don't know if the news is true about Satoshi moving BTC, then that could do wonders for it. It really could do wonders. Yeah, so 5,000, you know, that used to be a huge psychological level. And I do like your thinking, Rocky Mountain, whereas it really got suppressed for an extended period of time. And we're looking at the 12-hour price action movement. When was that it hit that 5,000 or close to the 5,000? September 1st. And it really wasn't until October 11th, so let's just say a month and a half, that it didn't break out above it. And when it did break out to 5,867 and had a nice little correction, nothing major, you know, $5,100 is what it pulled down to. And then another time it attempted to kind of get to that level, but it was $5,500. So, you know, I would say anywhere between, you know, if there is a catastrophic, you know, event that was to happen within BTC, within the market, especially with the government, then yeah, I can see that level anywhere between, you know, 5,700 to 5,000. And it doesn't hurt if you got, I mean, extra capital. I mean, it's kind of tough to kind of lock up, you know, $5,000 to buy one whole BTC at that level, but you know, it doesn't hurt to have a low ball offer in the book. Now, I don't think we're going to have a flash crash, you know, to bring it down to 5,000. You know, it's going to be probably an extended type of, you know, bear market, you know, where if something catastrophic happens, you know, we will see a crazy dip. You know, we will see a $3,000 dip. And if it is a catastrophic event, you know, just FUD being spread, crazy news, then it could just downtrend. You know, then we're definitely will be in a bear market. But yeah, you know, crash to 8,000. You know, if there's a catastrophic event, definitely. Taking some profits in BTC, just hoping that BTC doesn't slip either when Iota correction comes. Yeah, that's kind of the risky take. You know, when you're trading, you know, BTC pair, that's really that's a risky take. Whereas, you know, you take some nice profit on Iota because Iota's going up, and you go into BTC and BTC ends up correcting. Now, you know, going back, let's just, you know, going back, that was the best thing to do. But who knew that, you know, taking profit on alts and then, you know, putting it right into BTC, and BTC is just, you know, dominating the market and keeps going up and up. You know, that's a perfect trade. But yeah, you know, it's a risky take that if BTC does downtrend, then, you know, you're going to be giving up majority of your profits. So that's why, you know, I was always a fan of trading into USD, you know, because I know at least, you know, my capital, my profit and capital is going to be protected until I decide to get into another trade. Yeah, there will be a correction. There will be a correction, and when that correction happens, you know, it's the time to buy in. You know, it's always good to have capital sitting on the sideline and waiting. Jonathan, yes, I agree. The pump is because of futures market. You know, Chicago Mercantile Exchange. You know, the 5 Bitcoin forks that are going to be happening, possibly. It's all up in the air. But yeah, I mean, it's an artificial move to the upside, to be honest with you. But, you know, like I said earlier, you know, ECS had texted me about, you know, Satoshi's Bitcoin Cash moving to Bittrex. That will solidify that he is alive. I think then, you know, it'll do great things for BTC. I think we could see even more of a major pump for BTC. Or, you know, even if he was to make a statement, even if he was to, you know, make a tweet, whatever it might be, BTC could have that crazy push to the upside to that 15,000. ETC being added to the new Japanese exchange. I mean, it's not huge fundamental, but yeah, you know, Japan, you know, exchange is one of the leading in volume. So, I mean, if it has the support of the Asians, then yeah, I mean, we see, you know, exactly what's going on in Korea, where they are pumping some of these coins because just the volume is there. So let's see if this thing pulls back. We're looking at the 1 hour. So Jonathan, what exchange is that going to be on? I forget what that exchange is in Japan. I covered it long time ago. But yeah, they are starting to move into the U.S. market. But I can't remember the name of it though. Nice healthy level at 50 cents. I'm not sure on which one, Olaf. Let's get a little granular on Iota. And I should have probably plotted out that 289. Actually, no, not 289. Closing price. That's really where I would be looking to take profit. To 286, 287-ish. So let's see if this thing holds up. If it holds this 250 range. I went back and looked at Vert because I covered Vert the other day. Let's actually look at Vert real quick. Where is it? Where is it? Oh man, I forget what exchange it was that I was looking at it. Vert USD. Maybe Bittrex. And it actually really touched the level that I had mentioned. I know I have it here somewhere. There it is. Oh man, I didn't see this big push up to the upside. So yeah, last time we looked at Vert, you know, I talked about the 620 range because she was somewhere up here. She was in the 668, 670-ish. Let me actually look at this a little better, 15-minute chart. And she actually did break through a little bit below that 620. So yeah, we were looking at this one. It was like 670, 668, 665, something to that extent. And then I said, basically, this thing's going to pull back down. It's going to retest the 620. I mean, that's the area, that first area that I see it retesting. I'm like, the probabilities of it retesting that area, and like I said, in trading, it's technical analysis is all about probabilities. You're never going to be 100%. It's never 100%, but the probabilities are always there. And the higher the probability, the more likely that is, your theory is going to come true. And based on, the resistance twice with the red circles, 1, 2, and then the support 3 times, that kind of solidified that, that 620 has a higher probability of holding up and being a support line. And she did come down close to that 620, a little over 620, 620.5 cents. And then she attempted to retest it again here, broke through it here, but came right back up. And that's probably one of the most important things about it, holding a support line is it can break through it, but it's got to come back up. And it came back up really quick. So that kind of solidified that, that 620 was a very solid support for it. And then where's it at now? $8. So if anybody took advantage of that 620 from me covering it last Friday, let me know. Because that's huge. I mean, from 620, I would have definitely been taking profits. I probably wouldn't have held it to 8. What did it get up to? 880. I would have been probably 820. I would have been looking to lock in some profits. But yeah, that's a huge move up, and it held that support line very well based on the probabilities that I had plotted out. But yeah, so let's see if Iota. Now the probabilities on Iota, I mean, it's not higher than it is on VTC, of course. VTC had a higher probability of it holding that 620. I don't know about this holding that 620. You know, it's only really stayed below it twice. It hasn't retested that 620 in the past to give me a better confirmation that, you know what, 620 looks to be a little better, because, you know, I would have liked to seen this thing come down, retest a 620, get back up, come back down and retest that 620 and get back up. That would have been a better confirmation that 620 is going to hold. The probabilities of it holding are greater than not holding. So, you know, I would like to see this thing get down to 620. Sorry to anybody that's holding this thing. Retest it and stay above it and bounce back up. And then maybe try it again and bounce back up, because then that would solidify that, you know what, 620 has a higher probability of holding up going, you know, into the future than not holding up. So right now, the probabilities are very low because it hasn't retested that 620 yet to make the prior resistance, where we have the two circles here, as a current support line. So we'll see, you know, how this thing handles that not 620, I'm sorry. What is this? 250. So we'll see how this thing handles at 250. I was saying 620 because of VTC. So not 620 on Iota. It's not at those levels yet. But let's just say hypothetically, and this is for you, Matthew. Let's say hypothetically it breaks 250, which it could easily do it because the probabilities are not there. Remember, it's always about probabilities. But the probabilities of it holding, if it does have a downtrend, holding that let's just say 620 to make the math easy, but 616, 617, somewhere in the range of 620, the probabilities are there. They are there. They're very solid. And it basically held it here. Even though it dropped below it a little bit, it still held it. Let's make it a bigger circle. It held it here. It held it here. It held it here. That's a huge probability. And then if we really look at getting a little granular, and we really look at what happened here before it had a nice breakout, is that was an area where it was just held down and held down and held down, and it had a clear confirmation of a breakout. Well, not a huge breakout, but it did break above that resistance. And then it came and retested it, and it retested that 216-ish. And it retested that 16, it retested that 216 numerous times. So the probability of this thing, if it does downtrend, holding that 216, 220 are very, very likely. I like this probability of it holding that line. So if I was to look to get an entry, which I don't have any capital for an entry, it would be that 216, 215, 220 range. Somewhere in that range is where I would be looking to take an entry, because really 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times it's proven to me that she can hold it. Up here, though, at the 250 range, she hasn't shown me that she can hold it yet. She broke out above it and broke out above it very nicely, but she hasn't retested that line to say, okay, you know what, there is a support at that specific range. But going forward, I mean, you know, that's why we always like to look at the history of how many times it has bounced off that level, because that's really the fight between the bears and the bulls to control that price action move. And either the bears are going to control it and move the price down, or the bulls are going to control it and hold that line. And at this current time, that 215 is held nicely. You know, 5 times it held nicely. So we'll see. We're going to watch this like a hawk and see exactly how it handles. But I'm looking at the 3-minute chart currently right now, and I'll probably be changing those going forward. Can I check Pay? Yes, I can, definitely. Let me get to some of the questions first, and then I'll take a look at Pay. Stefan, what message? Did I miss a message? Only government. Yes, government or somebody with, you know, $20 billion. Anybody with, you know, $20 billion can probably control the hashing power. Do we have any, you know, $20 billion heirs? Yeah, we do. We do. And it really, it's not going to be one person. You know, if Bill Gates and Warren Buffett and the Saudi prince wanted to, they could, all 3 of them. But yeah, 20 billion, they could easily do it. Matthew, thank you so much. I don't know what the comment was, but Matthew, man, you definitely deserve to be a mod. You're always on here, so we're gonna give you mod status, bud. Bids all the way to 20. On which one? Olaf. Yeah, if you guys are referencing a specific, token, coin, cryptocurrency, yeah, put the token name next to it so I know what you're referencing to. Stefan, let me know what question that is, man. I'm not sure what question you're asking. Point you to the right news, and we'd be happy to, bud. If I don't know it, somebody on this live stream might know it to be able to point you to the right direction. So yeah, so if you want to specify, unless it's at the bottom and I haven't gotten to that question yet, I'll try to get to all the questions. So, if I just go down to the bottom, then I'm missing a lot of the questions that other people might be asking. And I try to go down the line and answer the questions as best as I can. Satoshi with his BCH address. Okay. I don't know what his address is. I don't know if anybody knew it. And that's kind of what I asked. But I just received a text message from somebody and says, what did it say exactly? Let me try to get to my text messages. It just said, what's this about Satoshi's Bitcoin Cash moving to Bittrex? And that was while I was on the live stream. So I haven't read anything. I haven't researched anything. And I just thought I would mention that out if you guys have heard anything about it. But I'm not personally saying that his, Bitcoin Cash is moving to Bittrex. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, I would definitely love a link to that news as well, too. ECS, if you're on here, share that information with us. Yeah, guys. Yeah, just going forward. I know a lot of you guys know me, and we've conversed in the past. But please refrain from using my real name. I would really appreciate that. Yeah, I'm just trying to kind of keep things on the down low. I've shared a lot of information in the past, and it's only going to come back and bite me. So, yeah, if you're sharing my name on the stream, yeah, just please delete it, or one of the mods will probably delete that message. But yeah, I didn't see that message. So Matthew, thank you so much. I know Crypto Cutter has seen a message before and has asked people to retract that message. Jonathan, I don't know where the news is coming from. I'm going to have to research it after this live stream. But I have no clue where it's coming from. ECS, if you're on here, share that information with us, bud. And yeah, Jonathan, you're absolutely right. One person has the ability to destroy this market. But I mean, rumors were, is Satoshi even alive? This would solidify that he is alive. So I think it would do good things for BTC, to be honest with you. It might not do good things for Bitcoin Cash. I think Bitcoin Cash would tank, knowing that Satoshi is selling Bitcoin Cash. But I think that would do great things for actual, the actual BTC. Payx. Somebody asked me to take a look at that. What is it on? Bittrex. Oh, Bittrex. Yes, Jonathan, that's what it was. Bitflyer. I couldn't remember the name of it. Bitflyer. You're absolutely right. And I remember, man, I think this was back in when I started live streaming. So maybe late January, February. I covered, some of the information, and BitFlyer, I talked about it briefly, that they were really starting to overtake Japan and the US in the sense of volume with BTC. So that's great that they are, we need something different aside from Coinbase. So I'll have to research BitFlyer, and that might be an account that I actually open up. But yeah, I couldn't remember the name of it, so thank you for sharing that. But yeah, I'm just going to stare at this for maybe just 20 seconds or 30 seconds on a larger time frame as I get to some of the messages, and then we'll kind of talk about Payx, or 10x, not Payx, 10x. But yeah, normally, when I'm looking at a chart, I'll kind of just stare at the overall chart as best as I can, and I'll just stare at it and stare at it. And really, the longer you stare at it, the more that it talks to you and tells you, a story. So right now, just 10 seconds of looking at it is telling me that, it likes that happy bottom at 153, $1.53. Yes, it can come, it can fall through it. But that 153, 155 is a nice happy bottom for it. But there's sometimes where I'll stare at it for a good 10, 20 minutes. And this is really looking at, a 3-hour chart or a 3-hour price action movement. But yeah, when you get a little granular, you're able to see a little bit more of the detail and then be able to pinpoint a couple things a little better. But that 150-ish, we're going to say 152 is a good level for it. Stefan, not a problem, buddy. Not a problem, man. Yeah, just going forward, there's a lot of crazy things happening in the crypto space with some YouTubers. A lot of crazy things, and not that I would be a target, but I try to keep it real. I don't try to mislead anybody, and hopefully nobody would try to hack me. But you just never know, man. It's a crazy world. It's a crazy wild, wild west that we're dealing with. Man, this thing's choppy. Looking at it from a distance, it's like, it had some nice little, nice little curves and whatnot. And I wish we wouldn't really had. Let me put a circle there so you guys can see exactly what I'm seeing. Because this setup would be actually really nice if we didn't have, that nice little peak, that nice little peak. If we didn't have those peaks, I would say, all right, you know what? We're forming a cup. We already formed the cup. Here's the handle, but that kind of takes it out of the equation. It's not 100% that this isn't really, it just kind of diminishes that probability of it being a true cup and handle formation due to having a nice little breakout and then breaking back down. Okay, let me go ahead and delete these. Yeah, let me know too if Iota or something's starting to break out. Let me know, and I'll take a look at that. Or BTC if it's starting to tank. Yeah, I don't know what his address is. Even if you guys know his BTC address, I would love to follow his BTC address to see if any type of movement is happening. Or really any billionaires. If any billionaires are moving, their tokens, because then you can really follow it and see, okay, you know what? There's a billionaire, that's moving tokens to an exchange. You know exactly what exchange, he or she, or possibly they, are moving it to. And then you can kind of expect a nice little, possibly a dump to happen. There's a reason why they would be moving it to an exchange, and that's to sell only. If they're not moving it to an exchange and it's just sitting on a hardware wallet or a paper wallet, then they're long-term hodlers. They're going to hold it. But the minute that they move it to an exchange, there's a reason why they're looking to sell it. They're not going to keep, millions of dollars on an exchange with the possibility of it being hacked and whatnot, or the exchange shutting down. So yeah, going forward, if you guys, find any, any addresses that have a shitload of BTC or a very solid cryptocurrency, share it with us, or, follow it and let us know if there is any type of movement that's happening within that address. Man, this is a little tough to plot out because it has some crazy swings. You need to research this after Captain America mentioned it. What did Captain America mention? I'm assuming you're talking about the movie Captain America. What do you guys call me now? So I don't know if that Captain America name was referring to me, but that's awesome. I like that name. Yeah, just crypto trader. That's kind of the name I've always gone with. That's perfectly fine. What is ATH all-time high? I don't know if anybody got to that question for you. I got to scroll down to see these questions again. And then ATL would be like all-time low. Rick, good question. And I'd be happy to take a look at LTC. A while back, I did give it an end of the year prediction of $100. And it's broke that $100. I think it's downtrending now a little bit. Profit taking is going to happen. But other than that, I think, it's still a solid investment. Don't expect it to grow like BTC or to grow like ETH or to grow like a lot of these other cryptocurrencies have. It's a very slow and steady, and it has a nice push up. And when it pushes up like that, you got to take profits, and then kind of wait back on the dip. And whoever asked me about 10X, this is tough. I mean, yeah, for me to take a look at this, I'd have to spend at least an hour. And I think I will cover 10X in the future a little better than the way I'm covering it now. All right. I think that's all I'm going to plot out. But yeah, there's a lot more to plot out. But I mean, we're nowhere there at all. But yeah, one thing I don't like about this is just how choppy it is. It doesn't have a sustained move to the upside, but it is testing out, areas of support. And when it has these crazy push to the upside, I think there's a lot more profit taking that's happening within the ranges. Too much profit taken, honestly. Because yeah, there's no reason for it to have this type of push up unless it's being manipulated just to break right back down and then push back up just to kind of break back down. And I mean, these aren't healthy corrections at all. I mean, this is it's a massive dump on this. What is this, a 3-hour candlestick here? And then it's finding, its price action. It's finding its level, price discovery. And as we can see with the consolidation here, consolidation there, it is finding, that price discovery. But these swings are just way too much, way too high, going from $2.94 all the way down to $1.78. And to be honest with you, 10X is not the type of trade that I would hold long term. If you end up getting in this, let's just say at $2, and it has a crazy push to the upside, lock in those profits because it comes back down and it comes down heavily. So on this current move up that it had, had a nice little push up here, really broke down and consolidated and really found its price discovery and had probably one of the biggest push up to the upside. But where did it come back down to? It came down to where it found the price discovery. that price discovery was in this range. So usually, the price discovery is always going to be where the majority of the battle happened between the bears and the bulls. That's where that price discovery is. And there's a possibility that that's an area that it could test out. So when she, had a nice little consolidation for, let's see how long that was. For almost 5 days, crazy push to the upside, came right back down and retested that area of price discovery. It didn't retest it here. It retested it here. So really, that bare bottom support that I would look at, aside from, the lows that it really touched, just really where the majority of the fighting happened, is really that 155, 153, something to that extent. But there is a possibility, in this current price action movement that is happening now, that it could retest out, our green line, or if that is even green, neon green, whatever it is. Let's change that to yellow. I don't think I can change it to yellow, but this box here is an area that it could probably test out. And these dips are just very violent. They're not a healthy profit taken slowly but surely downtrending. They're very sharp drops that are happening. And unless you have an order in the book, there's really no way for you to be able to catch this thing in time before it bounces right back up. And at that bounce back up, you're chasing it. And I'm sure a lot of people probably, if they were watching this thing, after it really came down from $2.95, came down to $1.83, if they weren't there to catch that below $2, and they end up seeing it a little late and caught it, at 240, whatever it might be, 230, then it dropped right back down and retested, that area where that price discovery was, because it came down to $1.79. So that's really an area that I would kind of wait for, to see if it's going to hit those levels. And then if it does hit those levels and consolidate sideways, and it doesn't have a nice sustained push to the upside, then there's a possibility that it's going to retest the second area of price discovery. And this is probably a more of a wider range price discovery than anything else, because we're really going from 174 to about 152. But those are the two levels that I would really be looking at. And then when it has a nice push up to the upside, lock in those profits, because these swings are very violent. But yeah, not interested in 10X at all. Based on what I'm seeing now, if you're watching this like a hawk and you're basically, swinging it, basically day trading it, not or I'm sorry, scalping it or day trading it, not swing trading it, then yeah, this is it's a perfect opportunity, and day traders, these are the type of swings that they look for, but they lock in the profits right away and they don't really overstay their welcome in this type of trade. This is not a trade to overstay your welcome. It does not have that sustained move to the upside like it should. But yeah, I don't know. We'll look at this going forward as well too. If you guys remind me, I will try to look at it. Oh, Yobit. Yeah, dude. Yobit's a scam. Yobit is a scam. It's it's probably worse than Bittrex for pump and dumps. For pump and dump groups, they take advantage of Yobit. They were taking advantage of Bittrex, but yeah, I think they take advantage of Bittrex more than anything else. Yes, stick to the solid exchanges. Yeah, Stefan. Yeah, I'm gonna search it as well too, and just see, if something pops up. But I'll have to contact my buddy and say, hey, what's the deal with that? What's the deal with that text message? Let me actually text him now and see if I get a response. So we'll see if I get a response before this live stream ends. Yeah, and Jonathan, it's not me spreading that FUD, by the way. I'm not spreading any FUD. And you guys know me, if you've been on these live streams for an extended period of time, I don't spread any FUD at all. I was just kind of relaying the message that I received. And maybe, you guys can search it and search for it if you can, and see if you guys find anything. And if you do, that's great. Share it with the group. Like I said before, the more information that we can share with each other, the more that we're going to empower ourselves to make an informed decision. So power is knowledge. Information is knowledge. Yeah, and that's exactly it. Bitcoin Cash would tank. It would definitely tank. If he's selling any of his forked coins, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Diamond, then yeah, it's going to tank them. It really will tank them. I don't think it's going to touch BTC. I think it'll do wonders for actual BTC, because then that just solidifies that he's alive. He's alive and he's well. But yeah, I mean, if it's not true, it's a lot of FUD that's being spread. Way too much FUD. Especially on Bitcoin Cash. No one knows if Satoshi's alive. No one knows if Satoshi's alive. Until he moves those coins. Until he moves those coins, no one knows. And yeah, I mean, and I'm sure, somebody has the address. They're able to track those coins to see if he's alive or not. LTC. All right, let's go ahead and start out with a new clean chart here. Jameson, welcome, buddy. Do I use Binance? Yes, I do use Binance. And it's pretty legit. It's pretty legit. Unless you guys have been misled or wronged by Binance. They got a lot of coins that they do offer on their exchange. I would rather use Binance instead of Coinbase or Bitfinex. So that's the Genesis address there. Sweet. I'm going to copy that. I will save that address. Yeah, man, it's always good to follow these addresses that have tons of coins in them. In the stock market, you can't really follow it, but we call it the billionaire trade. Usually when billionaires start getting into trades, that's when it's going to have that billionaire type of move to the upside. So yeah, we call them the billionaire trades. And if coins are being moved to an exchange, more than likely, well, I shouldn't say more than likely, they're looking to sell. They're looking to dump. Now they might not dump everything at once. They're looking to start trimming their position, and that's really what's going to bring the price down. Do I review? What is up, buddy? I don't know if somebody was moving it to an exchange. I haven't got any type of confirmation. LTC. So we're really not going to look at anything below 50 bucks on LTC. Let's see where that 45, man, that 45 was an entry that I was waiting for, and it hit 45 because I had an order in the book, but I wasn't first in to be first out, and it never hit my order. But yeah, I remember, I was driving my son to school and looking at my phone, it hit 45. I was like, yes, I got an entry, I'm in. And then I get home and I'm like, it never executed. There weren't too many coins that were executed at that price. All right, so even though this thing hit 107.49, depending on what exchange you're looking at, I would have been looking to take profit at the previous high, unless it gave a clear confirmation of a breakout. So looking at the daily, no, it definitely didn't give a clear confirmation of a breakout. It actually broke down. I mean, it got up to $103, but it definitely broke down to 86. So really, that's where you would have been looking to lock in some profit, trim your position, and then wait for a nice healthy pullback to buy in more. They do have retracements when they start hitting all-time highs. Getting in after an all-time high is you're basically throwing money away. You're asking, for a seasoned investor to take your money and that's as long as you don't panic and sell. But if you panic and sell, you're asking for a seasoned investor to take your money because seasoned investors are waiting for a pullback after it hits an all-time high. So it broke out a little bit above an all-time high. Somebody bought it. Somebody bought it at, 103.54. Somebody sold, so somebody bought. And then it dropped back down to a low of 76, a low of 78. Hopefully that person didn't panic and sell. Hopefully they held on to it because then at 107.49, they would have been just a little bit in the green, just a little bit. I think I like the $70. I like the $70 possible retracement. Let me get a little granular on this. But yeah, if you guys want LTC and you're waiting for a good entry price, $70 actually looks pretty good to me. And I will tell you why. And like I said, it's always about probabilities. Always about probabilities. So we had a nice little peak that it made here. And that $70 is not to go all in. It's not. It's just to kind of get a better of an entry instead of buying it here, wishing and hoping that it starts breaking all-time highs, waiting for a retracement to happen. There's nothing wrong with that. Be patient with your trades. The market's not going to go anywhere. The market will always, always be there. But yeah, we had a nice little peak up to $70. That was back on October 15th, and then really just kind of moved sideways and just moved sideways, had a nice little bump up, but moved sideways, but it really didn't do anything major. But then, we had a nice little break, pulled back down. So, anytime that they start hitting all-time highs, just like it did at, 103, it pulled back down, because that 98 was an all-time high. But here, we had a resistance. It had a hard time breaking out above that $70. It actually got to 69.59. We'll just say 70, make the math easy. And if somebody was patient enough, they didn't buy it at 70, but it started to pull back down and they bought it at 51, $52. Where do you think they're going to take profit? They're going to take profit somewhere in that $70 range. And it got to 72.50 and it pulled back to 65. But then coming back around, it actually moved up and broke above that resistance. And it maintained that resistance. So not this current resistance here where it hit 72.50, but that $70 that I just previously put a circle on, the $70 here. It maintained it. That's a healthy move, even though she didn't have a parabolic move. She more than likely, or I shouldn't say more than likely, she maintained that $70. Yes, she came down to 68 here, 68 there. That's really not that big of a deal as long as she gets back above that prior resistance of $70. And she did. She got above it. And, she headed up. So prior resistance formed as a current support. So there's that current support in this range here. Above $70. So that tells me that the probabilities of if we do have a nice pullback, that $70 should hold. Should. Not 100%, but it should hold. And that's where I would be looking to take an entry. Not go all in though, because you really don't know. It's only about probabilities. That's all it is. But let's just say hypothetically, that $70 should hold, but let's just say it breaks through that $70. There is going to be another area of support for it. So let me actually try to see exactly what might have happened in the past here. I don't see this thing getting to $45. $45 is going to be wishful thinking, to be honest with you. But I need to see what happened in this $57, $55 range. or 54. So I see 54. Let me just go ahead and plot that out. But more than likely, you know, as I kind of scroll to the right, that 54 might not be a good level. But in the past, it showed me that, you know, that's somewhat of a solid level where it had prior resistance, broke out above it, came back down, maintained the 54-ish, broke down below it a little bit, but overall it maintained the $54 range. And then after this, I'll get to some of the comments. Yeah, I think I like that 54. So even though, you know, from 70 to 54 is 16 bucks, you know, I mean, that's a good amount of money for LTC. That's a good amount of drop. But, you know, if there is catastrophic event that's happening in the overall market and everything is just pulling down, whales are just taking profits left and right, you know, that's probably one of the most solid areas of support for it. To expect this thing to break back down to 40, 45, 30, it's unlikely. It's unlikely to happen. Considering price discovery has been, you know, bare bottom at $45. You know, where a good amount of fighting between the bears and the bulls for price action happened in that $54 range. Attempted to break out, broke down, broke out with a vengeance here. I mean, it didn't even slow down. You know, at that $54 level, it broke out of it to 70 bucks. Came down to retest it. What did she retest? She retested close to that 54. Went up. What did she retest again? Close to 54. What did she retest again? Close to 54. What did she retest again? Close to 54. Let's take a look at other areas where she retested the 54. Here she broke down, but I always talk about, yes, it can break down below those areas of support, but she just got to get back up. And what does she do? She gets back up and maintains. Actually, let me put a block here. And maintains at 54. So she can break below 54, but she's got to get back up above it. And she has shown us here. So the probabilities of that being one of the most solid support, if we do have a catastrophic event, is very, I mean, I would probably say 90%. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, not 90%. Somewhere in the range of 80 to 85% that 54 will hold. You know, she has shown us numerous times that she can hold that $54. And yes, she can dip below it a little bit, but she came right back up. So to kind of hope and wish $50, yeah, $50 could hit, but the probabilities of 54 hitting are a lot more greater than $50 hitting. And she's shown us that 54 is very solid. So putting in an entry at 54, having it to crash to 53 is not that bad. But not putting in an order at 54 and hoping for 50 might not happen because she might only crash to 52, you know, $52.50 or $53. But I don't see it crashing to $50 because really, I mean, ever since we had that peak to 69 bucks, you know, she hasn't, the probabilities of it hitting 50 are not there. I mean, it did it once, but I don't see it doing it again. The probabilities of it hitting 54 are definitely there. But, you know, always have capital left over that if she does go back down, she will hit that possibly 50. And if she does, then you have capital that you can add to it. But going forward, you know, that 98 is still going to be a crucial level, considering that 98 was and still is a prior resistance right over here. So let me put a circle there. If it allows me to. Actually, it won't allow me to put a circle there because there's a line there, but we'll go ahead and put a circle close to it. But that 98 is still going to be was a resistance, and it formed it as a current support. So if we get a little granular, it should consolidate within that range, and it's just hard to determine what the price action is going to be between the battle of the bears and the bulls, because it's currently holding or maintaining that $98 range. But you know, she could easily crack through the second area of support, and I really see that second area of support being somewhere in the range of $85 to $82, 85 to 80, 82.50-ish, 82.75-ish. But, you know, for this to have a very nice, healthy move to the upside, you know, right now she is, because she's maintaining that $98, and she's maintained it several times. You know, she's maintained it at this level here. She's maintained it here, even though she came back down. That's completely all right, as long as she makes it right back up. And she is somewhat maintaining it here. But, you know, if the overall market starts to crash, she'll come down. All right, let me answer some questions on the comment that you guys have. But that is going to be the last cryptocurrency that I take a look at, because it is 12 o'clock, unfortunately. Rick, welcome, by the way. Thank you. Whatever question I answered for you, or whatever I said, not a problem. Anytime, buddy. Downtrend forecasted, or question mark, on the overall market or BTC? I mean, we'll see. You know, to be honest with you, in the sense of the BTC, I mean, we are in consolidation mode right now. We're looking at the 30-minute chart. I mean, this is consolidating within that range of, you know, 1150 down to, I don't look at the wicks at all, to 11,150. I'm sorry, 11,100. Yeah, let's just say 11,150 to the 11,500. So as long as she consolidates within that range, I don't think we'll see much of a downtrend. But if she doesn't, then yeah, we could. As long as she, you know, as long as she keeps getting close, or if she gets close to the areas of support, then yeah, the forecast is downtrending. You know, but if it holds at 10,700 and what is that? $10,770, then, you know, the trend is still there, possibly for an up move. But if she doesn't, and she breaks through that support and just kind of teeter-totters, then yeah, you know, the forecast is downtrending. Swarm City, you're long. I haven't really been following Swarm City. I have not. Maybe I'll cover that on the next live stream. You DTF SWT. I'm sure a lot of people can take those acronyms for something else completely different, Stefan. 10x will be removed from many exchanges. You know, before we get off, let me see. I forget where I saw that. Let's see if I can share that with you guys. I just got to find it on my other screen. Let's see if this is the one. All right, so I do kind of like this coin calendar. There's a couple other coin calendars out there that you can take a look at. But NULS, I'm not sure what NULS is, to be listed on Ucoin. Probably another Yobit. But let's see if we find anything about 10x in December. Cardano to be listed. EOS public testnet. Monaco to be listed. So maybe that's the push for Monaco. That's the push for it. It's going to be listed on 1, 2, 3, 4 exchanges. So that explains the push on Monaco. And I hadn't looked at this recently to see if there was anything that was happening within the calendar. CoinRail, I've never heard some of these exchanges, to be honest with you, to list NEO and gas. Bitcoin Cash should be listed on Bitstamp. That's pretty big. Target Coin, hopefully not the department store Target. So, I mean, on the 10th, so I haven't even looked at TGT. I don't even know. I've never even looked at it, but I'm sure TGT is actually probably doing pretty well considering there's on the 10th dividend payout that's happening. Let's see. 37%. So, you know, people are buying just to take advantage of that dividend. And it's a great way to lock in some profit, you know, to be honest with you, because you know that based on that news, people are going to be buying it. And if you've known that ahead of time, I never knew that. I just recently looked at this. Let's see what exchange it's on. Hit BTC, Ether Delta, Coin Exchange. But yeah, that's a reason for its move. Oh, this is interesting. Ethereum Classic hard fork. I have not heard of that yet. On the 12th of December. Hard fork in the sense of splitting to another coin, or doing basically what Ethereum did not long ago, doing a hard fork, but not really splitting into another coin. Stratus has a full node alpha release. There's a December 18th. Bitcoin on CME. But yeah, I'll have to play around with this and see exactly if I do find anything on, what was that on? 10x being removed from many exchanges. So I'll have to take a look at January and see if anything happened in January. But yeah, if you guys want to, it's called coincalendar.info. And if you are a regular on this live stream and you find some great information, I mean, share it with us. You know, especially if something happens in January, February, or March, definitely share it with us. Yobit is like a dirty brothel. Oh, dude, that's a good way of putting it. I never really use that analogy in the sense of Yobit, but yeah, I'm sure we could use that on a lot of other exchanges as well as a lot of other coins or tokens that are out there. Maybe some of the crazy, you know, Bitcoin forks that are going to be possibly happening. They could be like a dirty brothel. I like that, dude. Let's see. FBI could tank BTC. Let's take a look at. I mean, I'll put that address down and kind of look at it. I won't have time to really look at it, but maybe I'll pull it up on the live stream. Figure out who owns that address. I do have a friend who is, you know, I won't say the name, but who is part of the Federal Bureau of Investigations. And she was at my house actually not long ago, and she saw my setup and she was like, what did she ask me? She was like, nah, you're not involved in that dark web stuff, are you? And I just started cracking up because she really didn't have an idea of what I do. She knows that I trade, but her assumption was that I was trading the traditional financial market. She didn't know that I was involved in, you know, trading Bitcoin and different cryptocurrencies. Until she asked me, she's like, oh, what are you trading now? And I was like, oh, you know, trading cryptocurrencies. And she was like, Jonas, she's like, you're not involved in those, you know, dark webs, are you? I was like, no, definitely not. But yeah, you know, I think that's all the time that I got today. I think I got to all the questions as best as I can. Tony, what's up, dude? You're kind of late, man. I got to get off this live stream. But yeah, next time, you know, hopefully you join early. But yeah, usually I do these live streams Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, somewhere in the range of 10 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern time zone. And I try to go to right about 12 o'clock, sometimes a little longer, depending on the day or what I have going on. But I want to thank everybody for joining this live stream. Thank everybody for hitting that thumbs up, and welcome any new viewers that have joined this live stream. And don't forget to click on that subscribe button as well as the post notification. Stay connected with us on Steemit, Twitter, as well as Facebook. And you guys know I have nothing but the utmost respect for everybody that's on this live stream and anybody really that's in this cryptocurrency market that's being honest. you know, not misleading anybody at all, because that's not my intention, and hopefully that's not anybody's intention at all, because that's the only way that this cryptocurrency market is going to grow, is with honesty and integrity. And you know, when people are misleading others, you know, it puts a bad taste in other people's mouth, and word of mouth gets out, you know, and that's going to stop mass adoption. And mass adoption, whether we like it or not, is happening and is going to happen, you know. So I know some people are probably not fond of mass adoption, but I want to see this market grow. And I've talked about that $1 trillion mark. It will get there. But, you know, it's going to get there with honesty and integrity. Mark T. Jackson, what's up, buddy? Not a problem, man. Anytime for this live stream. And thank you for joining. Thank you for commenting. Enrique, you as well. SkyTech, Matthew, Rick, Tony, Jameson. Let's see who else we got. Stefan. I'm probably going to miss some people's names. Rubber Dub. Good night, Sweet Prince. The Traveler. You know, it's great to see new names on here. You know, it always motivates me to keep doing these live streams, and as well as the repeat viewers. I mean, you guys are always on, always being interactive, always answering questions for other viewers that I might not be able to get to. But, you know, thank you so much for doing that. Olaf, Mohammed, new name. That's great to see that. Good night, Sweet Prince again. SE, you know, all my mods, really, you know, Crypto Cutter, Jack, all the mods that are on here, SE, you know, Daniel Strong Hands, who, he's got some great Ponzi coins for everybody to invest in, and they usually have me laughing. But you know, thank you everybody for joining. Andreas, I don't know if you're still on here, but you know, better than you. Oscar Carlson, thank you guys so much. Enjoy your day. Today's Monday, beginning of the week until Wednesday. This is Crypto Trader and CryptoTraders Room, the last frontier, and keeping it real with honesty and integrity. You guys have a blessed and wonderful day. Be safe.